Good morning and thank you so much for joining us on the Tuesday edition of TVC Breakfast. We're here to give you all the information you deserve to know. I'm Ibrahim Shita.
Indeed, Nigeria, it is time for breakfast and we've got a very big spread for you this morning. You could be anywhere, but you're choosing to spend your morning right here with us on the TVC Breakfast Show. We're very grateful and you're very welcome. My name is Olamide Odekunle.
And of course, good morning, Nigeria. It's always a pleasure to have you join us. Every day we get to update you on everything happening in Nigeria. The table is set. You know how we do it. I am Ria Abdul. Welcome to our show.
Good morning. The table is set. I'm in for the menu. Biodun Showunmi is my name.
Of course, of course. It's an honor to actually have you on the show this morning. You are very, very welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's good to see you, Ibrahim.
You guys are looking so smart.
Thank you very much.
And then he's a white man among us.
You know what I've noticed? All of us have gadgets in front of us. Mr. Biodun Showunmi, he's going based off of here. It's experience, it's knowledge, it's expertise, it's stuff that you can't Google.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, once again, it's an honor to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us. Well, there's a lot to talk about on the show. You know how we do it. At some point, Ibrahim will take us through the newspapers where we get to talk about everything that is happening in Nigeria. We get to give you all the headlines. And then we have an interview where we'll be speaking on tourism. Very important, aspect of our country. We'll speak about tourism later on. And then we take you to Abuja for the FCT brief. We'll come back where the very beautiful Olamide will tell us everything happening in the world of social media and more. So please grab your cup of coffee and let's have a very fantastic show. We'll start with the story where 100 children out of abducted from St. Mary's Primary School and Secondary School have been released and officially handed over to the Niger State government. Now, our senior reporter, Chemini Bamiyi, reports on this.
It is more than 14 days since 315 children, including 12 teachers, were abducted from St. Mary's Primary and Secondary School, Papiri. News broke yesterday that 100 of the children had regained their freedom. Today, the representative of the National Security Advisor led the rescued children to the government house in Mina in a convoy of heavily armed military vehicles, where they were received by the governor of Niger State, Umaru Bago. The governor acknowledged that more children remain in captivity and assured that efforts are ongoing to secure their safe return.
We are just excited and we're happy that we've received 100 of these children, as you saw just a minute ago, and want to thank the president, the security agencies, and every Nigerian that have been part of this recovery. And we are hopeful by the grace of God we'll get the remaining very, very soon.
The children were formally handed over to the state government by Wing Commander Abdullahi Idi Hong, representing the National Security Advisor. He explained that the release was achieved through intense and coordinated operations led by the Office of the NSA.
That the effort of the Department of State Services play a critical role in ensuring the success of this operation. I wish on this note that I affirm the commitment of the Office of the National Security Advisor of every Nigerian. We will continue to lead and coordinate measures to protect all communities and institutions across the country. Particularly, we are implementing immediate short-term protective measures in high-risk areas.
Details of any negotiations remain unclear, but the NSA's representative assured that a short-term security plan will be implemented to safeguard schools, especially in high-risk areas.
For these children, it's an emotional one after spending more than 2 weeks in captivity, but finally they will be reunited with their families. But as it stands, there are over 100 children that are still in the den of these bandits, and the state government has promised that all efforts is being made to ensure their safe release. Chanami Bami, TVC News, Mina.
All right, that was the report that we just had. We're excited that 100 children will be going home to meet their families. But in as much as we're excited, Mr. Biodun, I'll start with you. We're still worried that, we still have children in captivity. So in times like this, you wonder, how do some parents celebrate when some parents are still grieving? Now, what really worries me in this whole issue is that they've been there for 2 weeks. It's not 1 day, it's not 2 days, it's 2 weeks. And we all know what, being in captive is. Our worry is that did they come back sane? Our worry is that how do we deal with their mental health? But most importantly, how are we safe safeguarding our schools to make sure that this doesn't happen again? Because, Mr. Biodun, if you agree with me, this is not the first time. And we always see that our girls are like the weak targets, because whenever you hear that they're abducting people from schools, it's the girls. It happened in Chibok, and now we're seeing this again.
Oh, it's quite a very hopeful thing to imagine. You can imagine if one's kid is in captivity, and it's a nightmare for any parent, and government has to do everything, which is quite obvious. They're working very hard. They've been able to get 100 out. We hope more of these kids will be out within the shortest possible time. But the key issue is this: how do we safeguard our schools? If you go back some years, I mean, you realize that the issue of Safer Schools project was on. How many states signed up on it? You know, it was a federal government initiative, you know, to ensure that schools are safe. Yeah. How many states, even states that are more prone to all these kidnappings, did not sign on it? So I think it calls for a sober reflection on how past leadership have behaved in our country. So it's now time for us to re-engage with Safe Schools project. And again, you notice that in one of the schools, even state government ordered that the school should be closed. And a school decided to remain open, you know, defying security advice. So all this kind of conduct needs to be checked one way or the other. It's not just for the government, it's also on the part of the people, school proprietors. Right. We all owe it a duty to make sure that children are safe. Otherwise, we'll continue, you know, to experience these agonizing situations, which is not pleasant at all.
Not pleasant at all, and of course, it's not something that we want to see happen again. But I'll come to you, Olamide, from this angle. We are women, we are ladies, we understand, you know, what it is being in captive. We don't know what these men have done to them. I think, first of all, these children need to be taken to the hospital first, just to examine them if they're truly okay. Because when people are in captive, you are never sure about what happens to them. Now, especially girls, how delicate we are.
Indeed, every time a child is abducted from a school, it's not just a security failing, it is a moral fracture. The fact that kidnappers and terrorists truly now view our educational systems or educational schools as high leverage points for some sort of, it's very, very scary when you think about that juxtaposition. When we look at society, schools are supposed to be some of our safest places. It is where children go to dream. It is where they go to grow. It is where they go to learn. And so every time you abduct a child, you are stealing hope. You are stealing possibility. That is what you are doing. And that's what makes these kidnappings even more frightening. I will say that I didn't particularly see this as a celebratory mood. No. I don't think that those children should have been displayed, whether or not they want to prove a point and say we've gotten them back home. Great job to the federal government. But the first thing that should have been done is checking their mental faculties, like you rightly said, making sure that they're okay, them spending time with their families, not being paraded around in a minivan for all of us to say, okay, you've done a great job. It's great, but there's still more children in captivity. I don't believe that this was a time for a celebration or a display at all. Once again, I worry that it's troubling that the kidnappers see schools, places of learning, as a high leverage point.
It's really worrying, Ibrahim, and I'll come to you with this. First of all, we will think that they will have been taken to the hospital. I still stand on that, because we don't know what has happened to them. Some of them, the things that have happened to them, they're even too scared to talk. You know, I think they should have been taken to hospital before they were even taken to their families. Yes,
the federal government will not, or the government, even the state government, will not leave them to their family alone, even though some of them have been reunited with their families. But certainly they will do follow-ups. And one thing is, we may be saying that, it is not an exciting, it shouldn't be an excitement for us. But one thing is, if one loses one family members to, you know, these kidnappers, these Hydra-headed kidnappers, you will be happy to even see them, you know, back alive. So it calls for, you know, maybe not celebration, not jamboree or anything, but at least we should be, if the federal government, if we are able to blame the federal government for the kidnapping of these children, and they are able to also rescue some of them, they should tell us how far they've gone. Others are saying, okay, fine, it's good that we have them back, but how did you get them rescued? You know, did you pay negotiations? Did you pay ransoms or anything? But one thing is, they are back. We have about 100 or 200 of them still in captivity. What the federal government is doing, they will not tell us everything, because some of this information are quite, you know, classified. But it's so sad, as you said, you know, our standard of learning, when you go to the north, we have more than 30 million out-of-school children. And this is also putting a dent on the drive to, you know, onboard, you know, children back to school, getting them, you know, to study. Because I tell you, some of these children will tell their parents, they will never go to the four walls of classrooms, you know, to teach. So the Safe School Initiative, which you mentioned, the federal government is intensifying effort to ensure that they will still carry on with this. So much so that our schools, you know, the integrity of our borders will be well policed and protected.
You know, Ibrahim, sometimes I feel like we do not understand the importance of education. Yes. And when these girls do not go to school, how do they give back to society? We say that these are the future of tomorrow, these are the leaders of tomorrow, but if they are not educated, it's like you rob them of their right. Absolutely.
You mentioned a point earlier about the need for medical attention. I think they obviously will need child psychological services, whether we like it or not. We need to help them to come to terms with what has happened to them, to be able to, you know, get the right frame of mind to face their studies. Now, but again, what's the essence? Why are the terrorists doing this? We know why they're doing it. They know that once the children are educated, particularly the female gender, they know quite all right that people will begin to ask questions about what is going on around them, why are they in poverty situation, why is the country not developing, and they don't want that. Don't forget, when Boko Haram started, they said no to Western education. What is it all about? It's to promote underdevelopment and keep people down. And that is what these girls are trying to challenge, to say, look, we're going to have education and live a proper life like other people and create opportunities, which in any case, education will afford them. And that is one of the things these terrorists are against.
Absolutely. And I just want to point out quickly, Ria, you know, the psychology behind when we kidnap a child. It's very, very frightening because you are a weakling. That you cannot stand in the front lines and fight the Nigerian army. You're hiding like rats. But when it comes to children, you show up with guns and you maneuver them out of a classroom. You are a weakling. I don't rate or respect it at all. And I'm deeply, deeply troubled by this news. I just want to say, you know, to these terrorists, you cannot abduct hope. You cannot abduct a dream. And you cannot abduct the future.
You know, at the end of the day, we would leave the conversation here, but we pray that these children will get the proper medical attention that they need instead of moving around in a van. You know, I think that they really need that medical attention. And also, we should not rob our children of education. That is very important. In order for any economy to be stable and have the future of tomorrow, we need to make sure that these girls are educated. We'll take a breather now, but when we come back, it will be time for the newspaper review. Don't go anywhere. This is TVC Breakfast.